the thick jungle brush begins to give way to sand and rock, and you can begin to see the very edges of the ocean itself crashing upon the beach shores. Eventually you come to the edge of this massive seaside cave entrance. You can see there's other smaller caves, but there's this massive opening that kind of curves over like an arch where the ocean inlet kind of pools in like a lagoon that's hidden within the cave itself. And she turns around, Lygia. We're not far from where we saw the ship. And you see like another shape begin to emerge from the mist. It looks like another young woman. Not different from her size. The sound goes, "Sister, is that you?" And she goes, "Oh, sister." And you see like another woman kind of appear from one of the other seaside caves nearby, looking kind of like her as well, redheaded. And then we see the other sister arrives, kind of like a dark auburn kind of coloration with a bit of like a blonde highlight. And as they step out, the sister goes, "You must come help us. The ship, bad people are in the cave."
Insight. Terrible.
Yeah, we're dealing with mental illness.
Terrible.
Right
So both of you make insight checks for me, please. It's kind of hard to tell. Like they all seem pretty earnest. You watch as they walk. Like another one of them kind of stumbles a moment and kind of catches themselves. And for a brief moment, the youth and beauty on their face seems to shimmer away, and there's something sinister that lies beneath the face. "My mother and sister appear to be safe, but the bad men are in the cave. Come, we must stop them."
We gotta stop the bad men.
I don't think so.
No, they're telling the truth.
I'm really questioning the truth here.
The girl who brought you here, Lygia, kind of looks a bit frustrated at the rest of your troop, and it's all right. They're quite capable, and I think. And you watch her kind of like drop her shoulders. "Curse this! We likely only need the blood of one of them. I need not suffer any further fools than required." And you watch as all of them, their image shifts slightly, and you watch as this kind of dark and twisted, elongated kind of merfolk-like appearance emerges from the illusion. The mother one in the back goes, and as this incantation leaves the lips, Lygia kind of growling in your direction, you feel this magical influence begin to try and curl its way past your mind. Your eyes instinctually begin to blink and tense, but you shrug it off, your willpower too strong, as all three of them begin to run into the cavern. Along with Bobby, who just goes into a sprint after them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
And you are dominated and charmed.
I am dominated and charmed. His dad's going to kill me.
They always want virgins. Let's go.
He's definitely a virgin.
I've grown quite fond of him, and we probably should go after him.
Yeah, we should. All right.
You slowly push into the seaside cavern. Now, the waters of the ocean are pushing in and out of here, and it is about knee-high or so. So the smaller folk, it's about waist and chest high as you wade through, the drumbeat keeping you quiet as you push. The cavern continues to shift around and loop into a darker region where you have no light source.
I do have a torch, actually, don't I?
You have a torch?
Uh-huh.
That's effective. All right. And kind of leading the slow crawl charge as you go through the winding cavern, eventually you can hear the distant echoes of kind of scratchy female voices chanting together. As you're moving, you hear this cracking sound that echoes but is muffled off-site. You move into this massive chamber that itself is dark, except for the water as you shift through. The plankton within seems to glow with each bit of movement and gives off this very soft ambient glow as soon as you kind of trek through it. Within the chamber, you can see where a bit of, almost like a small landmass kind of emerges from the middle of it, and then a much larger landmass fills the back end of the cavern. The smaller one, you can see the three women who are now, in their true form, have fish tails and are like wading through the water with like spines coming out of their skin. Their mouths like widely pulled back with sharpened teeth, kind of scraggly hair. And as they chant and shift through the waters here, you can see there are these three altars that are built out of like collected and piled stone that kind of emerge from the water itself. One sitting on this small little bit of land that's pushing above the water line. On that altar, you see, kind of standing there, eyes wide open, is Bobby in his teenage glory, the pack that he had on his shoulder kind of left on the ground.
Aw.
And you hear that muffled cracking noise kind of emanating from it. And as the plankton begin to give off more light as they swirl around and seem to be dancing as part of this incantation within the chamber, the light kind of gives off the larger structure you see. There is a gargantuan, it looks like a nightmarish crab entity that is currently parked on the back end of the cave.
The Witcher.
These massive claws that are kind of tucked underneath, and you can see its massive shell itself. It's a tangle of flotsam of sunken ships and spines that have grown out of it over time. There's barnacles that cover it entirely, and you see where the eyes would be. They're currently sucked and pulled in. It doesn't appear to be present or conscious at the moment. But as they all begin to chant louder and louder, with Bobby at the front, you can see Bobby is now standing there and filling a chalice that is on there with a cut from his hand.
Oh, poor Bobby.
And you can see there's 2 other chalices sitting atop these other altars. What do you do?
I think if anybody gets the crab, you can get the crab.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, he kind of
I'm
already
a
has it.
I'm a man of the night sheet, so I'll say I've got a little bit of the crab to begin with.
Probably are, yeah.
As the
Wait, why are you itching?
Because I slept with him.
you watch as the chalice, as you're conversing, the chalice fills. And as it does, the third altar begins to alight,
no.
and you hear one of them say,
It took too long.
May the dreamer awaken in our binds, rend the land above, and punish those who do not deserve your protection.
and as they all begin to glow, you can
gotta go.
see this, these kind of rune carvings on the shell begin to alight in a similar kind of reddish color of the red runes that are now kind of bright on the altars, and the shell of this creature begins to shift faintly, like it's beginning to stir from a slumber.
You do what you want to
I'm
do.
going to try and cast a counter spell to at least slow down the whatever part of the ritual.
Okay.
I whirl my hands glow a blue.
Ooh,
And I
nice.
clap them together and pull them apart.
Nice.
And this blue light
Nice.
emanates between, and I push it forth like this.
As you flick the energy outward, the kind of energy wave cascades out, and as it pulls outward, I'll say, if you watch as the chalice that had just been filled, the red glow of it suddenly sparks and goes dark, and you watch as the one siren goes, what? And as the runes begin to fade, the massive crab creature kind of falls back into a slumber, and they all go, what's happening?
Fairy fire.
It's like this bright kind of, this soft, faint rain of little glowing wisps of red and orange kind of fall in the area, which means that all of the creatures, like, sticks to the skin of all the creatures, which it kind of makes them glowing beacons. That's right.
that's
So
great.
at the top of the round, Bobby, you feel the domination just drop from you as the rune in the center kind of shatters, and all of them kind of look about confused, the concentration dropping, and you suddenly have control of yourself once again.
Oh, you wouldn't like me when I'm angry. And you've made me angry. I am going to cast Wild Shape.
Okay,
I
which
pull
shape
out
you
my
take?
deck of cards, my little cards. I'm like, there we go. Alpacas use spitting to defend themselves, and they are gentle animals, but not today. And I'm going to transform into an alpaca.
Okay, you watch as
throw
little
a card.
teenage Bobby, his body just morphs and shifts into a battle alpaca.
Nice.
That's what I
And I'm gonna I'm gonna run in and like get in their face.
Okay, so now this alpaca just gets in and starts like harrying them. Scanlan, it's your turn.
Okay, I will look dead in the eye of Lygia and cast vicious mockery at her. I will say, you know why my friend Rand here didn't want to get with you, right? Because you're shellfish.
You cut deep into her spirit.
That looks like her.
That sure does.
Pun hurts.
Yes, she takes 6 points of damage.
6 points
Oh
of
my God,
damage.
pun hurts all of us.
And then I will
Alrighty.
turn to my good pal Sarge,
Thank you.
whose name has always been Sarge.
It used to be Fred.
And I will inspire him. I will sing, "Hailing takes me away to where I like to be." Just Tony hailing the dice to carry me.
It's Sarge.
Sorry, sir, I will be.
Ding, ding, ding.
And I immediately.
So with that, the first siren is angrily freaking out. Is going to look over towards the crab in its attempt to calm it. using one of its own incantations. The crab resists with the super high save, and the siren goes, curse it! We can't put it down! One of the other ones is going to look over towards the rest of you and kind of, you did this! And it's going to go ahead and pull back. And now toward the back of the chamber, those who haven't moved forward are you three.
Yes.
Currently,
I,
correct?
oh,
Very
yeah.
fired,
right
but you
in it.
didn't
That's
move
true, I
forward.
didn't move forward.
So the three of you watch as this bead of light shoots in your direction, and it vanishes for a moment before a blast of flame surrounds you. A fireball explodes in your vicinity. Both of you take 24 points of fire damage.
This is brutal.
You take 12 points of fire damage.
Oh gosh. Okay.
You okay, pal?
My cloak is burning.
And the last one is going to go ahead and attempt to grab you to try and force your hand back onto the altar. You rush in as an alpaca and it just grabs you and like slams your head into the altar. You're like, and it's trying to like push you towards this ritual where the blood had spilt, and you can see the runes are starting to glow in the proximity of where you are, almost like the blood that was already put in the chalice and spilled is still connected to you. What are you gonna do? What you gonna do, Bramble?
I'm enraged!
Okay. The fairy fire fades away and the spell drops as you turn into the angriest fairy that's ever fairied.
So, I'm gonna fly down and I'm gonna like land on her back and I'm gonna try to slash her neck with my axe. The first one. And then after I've slashed it, I'm gonna stab the sword into it. So that's
Big old elongated gnashing teeth as she begins growling and thrashing about angrily with you clutching onto her back.
okay, 7 points of damage on the first one.
Alrighty.
9 points of damage on the second one. I'm gonna try to fly away with the rest of my movement. So I'm gonna fly
Straight up.
Okay.
She's gonna go ahead and make an attack of opportunity against you. So you try and fly out of her combat range, lashes out with these clawed fingers. So the attack goes wide as you carve up into the air, blades drawn at the roof of the cavern, looking
flipping
down.
her off as I fly backwards.
Perfect.
I'm so weak now. I'm going to attack Lygia. So I call my hexblade from the sky. And I say, darling, here comes your just desserts.
Perfect. As the blade appears and the words leave your mouth, they kind of echo. And you watch as these like blackened tendrils seem to curl up from the water beneath and begin to wiggle around her. This like black shadow energy that's now kind of grasping and slithering around her torso. As you begin to close the distance. So you rush in through the water, splashing behind you. For a brief moment, as you're rushing towards her, her image flitters back to that beautiful face and looks so sad, and it just shakes you enough to the point where you swing, and she just dodges out of the way.
So I miss that first strike, and I look her in the face and see it, and I say, I've said it once, I'll say it again. No one laughs at me. And I pull the blade up, and I cleave her in half from the bottom up.
The water itself like splashes upward like it's its own extension of the blade, and it meets with the shadow as the arc of the sword. It kind of glistens in the glowing light, the glowing blue plankton in the water matching the blue color of your magic. And as the strike cuts through, her laughter cuts short. And the top half slides off anime style before splashing into the water.
I've got a girlfriend.
I'm gonna run up between the two sirens.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say, ladies, do you like my accent? Focus right here, and then thunder wave them both.
Yeah!
Oh, dang, okay.
3. That's 16 points of damage.
16 points of damage to each of them. Woof. The impact, as it blasts out, the massive concussive explosion of sound and thunderous energy that, like a small localized detonation of a lightning bolt scattering, sends both of them flying about 10, 15 feet back from where they are, hitting the edges of the rock and kind of like catching themselves. You can see the stone cairns where the ritual were there also get blasted apart. The stacked stones go scattering against the wall, and all of their energy light vanishes.
Amazing.
When that happens, they both go, "It's unleashed! It's unleashed!"
Oh boy.
The crab's gonna come forward, both claws drawn, and move into the center. After you blow both of them back, you look up just as it is gonna arc towards you. You watch as the hook of its massive claw catches Scanlan and then like flexes, and you watch him tense and then go limp in the claw.
Tell my story.
Limp in its grasp. The two of the sirens are going to flee.
Okay, that first one I'm gonna fly down and I'm gonna like fly down and grab a hold of her hair, and yeah, I'm just gonna battle axe around her neck and like slam it into the front.
God.
It barely finds any sort of resistance as it just carves through and the head comes free. And as you hold it up, you see its eyes still going like tongue moving around, just still aware of its surroundings for the moments before it eventually passes entirely.
And then there's one left.
Yeah, that's
so
like
I'm
swimming in the
gonna
water.
stick the. This is so gross. I'm gonna stick the head onto my longsword, and I'm gonna slam it into the other one.
You're gonna bludgeon one with the head of the other? Hell yeah.
And then I'm just gonna keep hitting her with the head.
God, why does it turn me on so much? What's wrong with me?
Sarge, it's your turn. At the top of this turn, now the mist have rolled in here. That specter still sits behind you and says, "Do not die. I need you to avenge me." While the glowing apple still sits around your neck saying, "Do not worry, the future will be yours."
So I'm gonna take off the necklace,
Okay.
and I'm gonna take a huge bite of the apple.
The apple in your hand, the voice says, "Seize your destiny.
Seize my
I
destiny.
will guide you." And you take a huge bite of it.
I take a huge bite of it.
Just screams, "What are you doing? Oh, it hurts! It hurts! Oh, God!
Did you bite the apple sauce?
But I did. Yeah.
But as you're chewing it, you feel its power surging through your body, and eventually the screams of this apple begin to subside as it is devoured quickly.
Yeah, sure.
And as nothing but the core is left, and you drop it in the water. Sploosh.
Yeah. That's right. It's
You
inside
all see
me.
like the chest of Sarge begin to glow with his heartbeat, and as it does, you feel the strength surge into your body.
Yep.
You gain 50 temporary hit points,
That's right, guys.
and you feel like your
56 now.
your hands have the strength of a champion.
So I'm going to rage.
Yeah, I love it. You just scream.
And I'm gonna do like a
A
towards the
rage
crowd.
somersault?
Hell yeah, just full on like Sonic the Hedgehog leap, spin in the air.
As
Let's
the
do
drums
it.
are going, and I'm just going to smush the crab.
So as you strike down, your arms actually like split through the crab's armor into the center of its head, and you're now like elbow deep inside with like the side of its outer shell kind of cracking in spaces. And just tears the shell in half. You watch as it just pulls apart into two
right.
pieces and immediately crumples into the water itself, sploosh, sploosh, around. The legs kind of twitch and stop moving as there you see Sarge kind of stand in all of his magical glowing halfling fury.